This is the first time I've ever done something like this, you guys. I got an email about an hour ago about contracts, something about contracts. After reading it, I literally set up everything and I'm like, I'm gonna sit and make a video because enough is enough. I need to address this because it's getting out of hand. I think I need to make a video specifically for this reason regarding contracts and photographers and their clients. I think it's so important. And wow, I mean, reading this email and the screenshots, I mean, it's hard to say that I was in disbelief because this kind of thing happens more often than you think. But when you guys reach out to me, I felt like I need to do something. And like I felt so bad. And okay, so let me read you guys some of this email. So the subject was issues with contract. And so they wrote me, "Hey Jessica, I love your channel and I have learned a lot from it, especially about contracts. However, as you will see below, I had some issues getting this person to do it. Did I do something wrong? I hid their identity, but this person was not having it at all and they really let me have it." And they attached some screenshots of text messages between them. And all I can say, I'm not going to show the text messages to respect their privacy. All I'm going to say is if you read these with no context, you would think that this photographer was making a personal attack on their family, or like God, like I don't even know. It's like the recipient of this took it so personally, and I was just like, what? I was just kind of shocked. I'm like, the photographer is really not asking for much. But basically, what happened was the photographer asked them to go by their terms and conditions, and then the photographer even says, like, I know you don't sign any contracts, but you do have to, agree to my terms and conditions. And the photographer basically says, like, this is going to protect both of us from misunderstandings, and you want to call to meet up, all that stuff. And then very professional, very nice and polite. And then the client responds very hostile. I mean, she's saying things like, "This is ridiculous, like I've never had this kind of experience." And I'm basically, she wasn't having it, as this photographer was telling me. And then she basically was like, I'm not interested, I don't want to work with you anymore. And so I think this photographer who emailed me kind of freaked out because maybe she thinks she's going to lose an opportunity, and she thought maybe she did something wrong. The photographer also says that she thinks that this client still wants to work with her, and she's nervous and she doesn't know what to do. The photographer who emailed me said, "It's so hard because I don't want to be seen as difficult, but I want to protect myself." I understand that you don't want to be seen as a difficult person, but what is worse than being seen as a difficult person is going to be you being put in a difficult situation that you cannot get out of down the line where money is involved. And so that is why it is necessary to have a contract. And it is not outlandish, it's not unheard of. It is professional to have a contract. It's almost expected of professional businessmen and businesswomen to have something like this. I mean, imagine if you went skydiving and they didn't have you sign anything. Imagine if you bought a house and you had to sign no paperwork. It's just something that you come to expect when you're doing professional business with another person and you're exchanging money. Again, a contract is necessary. It's not, oh, well, this person doesn't really feel comfortable with signing it. Okay, if they're not comfortable with signing your contract and agreeing to your terms, they can move on to somebody else. They can go to somebody else. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. Oh, well, I really want this client. I want this whatever. Then that's fine. I understand. But you have to do it the right way, you guys. Start from the get-go doing things professionally, and you will not have these issues later on where a client comes to you and they're like, well, you never told me I have to pay money for this, or I don't like the pictures, what's going to happen? And, oh, I want more pictures. You know what I mean? You won't have to be questioning all that because it will be listed in your contract and that will have been discussed prior to any money being exchanged. essentially you're preventing issues with having a contract, okay? You are protecting yourself and your business, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're not being difficult. Again, you're being professional. You're not, and also I know a very big issue for some photographers is that they do not want to lose an opportunity. Let me tell you something, you're not going to lose an opportunity. You're going to lose the stress and the anxiety of having a client that's not willing to work with you on the most basic of things. And I don't think that's losing an opportunity. I think you're gaining some freedom there. If you notice a client becoming aggressive because you introduce a contract, then that's a big red flag. Make sure your contract is reasonable, okay? If there are terms that the client may or may not like, you can go over it with them. You can kind of see what works for them. I've had clients where they're not comfortable with some of the terms, and I will revise it based on my personal preference. If I feel like, okay, I can revise this, it's not a big deal, I'll change it. But if I'm not comfortable with it, then I'm not changing it, and I tell them like, hey, I don't think that I fit this project, and I wish you the best. And that's it. My advice is to just find clients who are really easygoing, laid back, are not going to give you a hard time. And trust me, they exist, okay? There's so many of them. There's so many amazing people. Find the people who like respect, your contracts and the fact that you want to deposit, and respect you as a person and, your business. And trust me, there are so many people out there. So don't for a second think that just because this difficult person who's giving you a hard time doesn't want to work with you, that it's going to be like your last client. You're never going to get any more business after that. And like, oh, I lost this opportunity. Don't ever think like that, because there's like millions of people on this earth, billions of people actually. And they're not the first and they're not the last. So, we just have to start changing how we deal with this as photographers. And I think that if we all stick together and start doing these like basic protocols such as contracts and deposits, I think that not only you will benefit, but the other photographers around you are also going to appreciate it and will also benefit from it as well. You don't really understand what you do as a photographer, how you practice your business is also the structure that other people will notice and go and tell their friends, and then that will kind of just set the precedent. So that is why it's so important for you to have stuff like this, contracts and take deposits. And we cannot let people intimidate us into not having a contract and, oh no, you don't have to give me a deposit. I know it upsets you. Like, just don't even deal with people like that. Don't even deal with them. Because if they're giving you a hard time before you even exchange money, imagine when money is involved. Imagine when you have $1,000 that this person has invested in you and then they don't like the pictures. If they're mad at you before you even sign a contract, before you even do anything, imagine how they're gonna be like when they have money involved in it. You know what I mean? Just think about that for a moment. And so that is why I'm saying protect yourself. No one's gonna protect you but you. You think the client's gonna sit there and try to protect you if something goes wrong? No. The contract is gonna be there. Do you think a client's gonna be standing next to you in a court of law if you're being sued? No. They're gonna be on the other side. You're gonna be the defendant. And guess what? All you're really gonna have is either your word, which I don't know, that's gonna be tricky, or guess what? If you have a contract, all you gotta do is just show the judge, hey, she signed this. These are the terms that she agreed to. Case closed, okay? Be strong enough to say no. Be strong enough to pass on potential clients if they don't fit your projects. If you don't feel like you're vibing with the client, it is okay to say no. It's not that you personally don't like them as people. They might be lovely people, but maybe they just don't agree with your business practices. Maybe they don't agree with something in your contract, and that's okay, because we're not always going to like everything. So again, just find clients that fit you as a person, as a photographer, and work with those clients. And I say if someone doesn't like what your contract says or how you do business, then just politely pass, and that's it. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. Just these text messages, man, it doesn't even sound like someone fun to work with. The client texted the photographer something, and then she's like, we keep it moving. Well, sweetie, if you don't like the terms and conditions, then you keep it moving. Bye.